This is Mac OS Ken.
Apple's restarting today at Apple. A right-leaning think tank defends the app stores and a new way to pay for AppleCare Plus. It is Tuesday, the 17th of August, 2021. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by SimpliSafe. Get 20% off your system plus your first month free when you sign up for interactive monitoring service at simplisafe.com/macOSKen. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSKen. Well, this seems hasty. Bloomberg says Apple is planning to restart in-store classes by the end of this month. According to the report, Apple opened its reservation portal for in-store classes on Monday, allowing consumers to sign up for courses in advance. The program will resume in the majority of the company's U.S. locations, including New York stores, but not everywhere. The classes, branded Today at Apple, were last held in March of 2020, just before the pandemic triggered widespread lockdowns. I know that's kind of a long time, and yet I will stand by my hasty comment, because while we might be done with COVID-19, it is not clear that COVID-19 is done with us. According to an article from USA Today posted yesterday, the United States Delta variant surge is shifting into a deadly new phase. The number of weekly fatalities is now rising in more than 3/4 of the states. The latest tally shows more than 4,800 deaths in a week. A USA Today analysis of Johns Hopkins University data shows that is more than triple the figure of the relative lull in early July. As with everything, Apple may change its corporate mind on restarting classes. The plan could be delayed in some areas given a surge in COVID-19 cases, according to Bloomberg. A right-leaning think tank has come to the defense of Apple and Google in the App Store fights with lawmakers. Apple Insider says the American Enterprise Institute has posted to its site arguing against the Open App Markets Act. I know, there are two of those. One in the U.S. House of Representatives that would ban tech companies from making their own payment systems mandatory and require interoperability with third-party app stores, and another from the U.S. Senate that would do that plus a bit more. While similar in name and nature, Mark Jemison, a non-resident senior fellow with the Institute, was writing specifically about the proposed Senate legislation. In the Post, Jemison cites a paper on which he worked recently for the Institute. His argument, despite cries to the contrary from the likes of Epic and Spotify, and despite the alleged stranglehold on app developers decried last week by U.S. Representative Ken Buck, app stores from Apple and Google have grown and continue to grow the app economy. According to his post, the app economy built on these platforms is vibrant and robust, in direct contradiction to the senator's claims. We found that growth in U.S. startup businesses accelerated rapidly once Apple introduced the iPhone. Likewise, Tech Entrepreneurship Association Engine found that seed and angel funding for startups has grown from $500 million with an M dollars to over $9 billion with a B dollars since the introduction of the iPhone. And the last year brought more of the same. The Post continues, these platforms' contributions to the economy accelerated during the pandemic. According to App Annie, the number of app publishers receiving more than $2 million in revenue increased 25% in 2020. Also during 2020, the amount of capital flowing into app companies increased 27%, and Americans' use of finance-related apps increased 90%. Apple and Google appear to be encouraging growth, reads the Post, not suppressing it. Not unlike some Apple execs, Jemison argues that people who want choice have it. Google caters to techies, argues Jemison, meaning people who want to sideload can do so with an Android device. requiring Apple to open its platform to sideloading and other payment systems would damage consumers, in part because they run counter to what consumers want. Jamison argues that people buy iPhone because they prefer it the way it is. Monday was another record day for Apple shares. Mac Daily News had shares in the Cupertino company hitting new intraday and closing highs to start the week. Shares hit a record high of $151.13 before giving back 1 penny. They ended the day at $151.12 for a new record close. Apple currently has a market value of $2.498 trillion, making it the world's most valuable company, according to the report. Flexibility comes at a cost as far as AppleCare's. Apple Insider has word of a new option for AppleCare Plus. According to the report, people buying new MacBooks can now buy coverage as an annual subscription instead of a 3-year upfront commitment. As noted in Bloomberg's Power On newsletter, the piece says an annual AppleCare Plus subscription for a new 16-inch MacBook Pro runs $140 a year compared to $380 for Apple's 3-year plan. Consumers who keep the annual subscription for 3 years end up paying a $40 premium. On the other end of the spectrum, the premium for a 13-inch MacBook Air runs $10 over the same period. I guess you have to pay more because you can cancel without paying the whole amount or something. Seems kind of weak, but cool. You can buy in for less upfront if you like. More news in a moment, but first a word from SimpliSafe, the right way to protect your home. I told you yesterday about Chad and Eleanor Lawrence, the couple who built SimpliSafe because they couldn't find a security system that was simple to set up that would make them feel safe. 15 years later, they are letting you put together your own system too. Maybe you need 1 camera or 2, no cameras but a specific number of door sensors. Would a smoke detector or a flood sensor be of use? They have packages that are ready to go, or get just what you need. It just takes a couple of minutes to customize a system on their website at simplysafe.com/macOSken. And getting it all set up is a breeze. Setting up my door sensors, base station, and keypad took well under an hour. Get that done, and SimpliSafe security experts are on the job. Fire, burglary, medical emergency. There's always somebody there who's got your back. Safety and simplicity. That's SimpliSafe. As my listener, you can save 20% on your SimpliSafe security system and get your first month free when you sign up for interactive monitoring service. Just visit simplysafe.com/macOSken to customize your system and start protecting your home and family. SIMPLI. That's simplysafe.com/macOSken. An update Monday for iCloud users on Windows. Mac Rumors says iCloud 12.5 for Windows brings with it a new iCloud keychain password manager app. The piece says it'll add, edit, copy and paste, delete, and look up usernames or passwords, just like a good password manager should. As for Windows specifically, Mac Rumors says new iCloud password extensions for Microsoft Edge and Windows Chrome work in tandem with the password feature, letting iCloud passwords be autofilled on a Windows machine, just like in Safari. Usernames and passwords created for websites are automatically added to the Passwords app. Designed to let Windows users access their iCloud files, photos, emails, and more from Windows devices, iCloud for Windows 12.5 is available to Windows users now in the Microsoft Store. If you're having trouble scanning with your Mac, it's not just you, and Apple is apparently on it. iMore says Apple is working on a fix for Mac users who suddenly don't have permission to use their scanner. Put simply, the problem is some people can't scan. Put less simply, The piece has Apple saying, when attempting to connect to your scanner and begin a scan, you might get a message that you do not have permission to open the application, followed by the name of your scanner driver. The message says to contact your computer or network administrator for assistance, or indicates that your Mac failed to open a connection to the device -21345. While the whole Mac-wielding world waits for a legit fix, Apple does have steps one can follow for a workaround. Those would, however, be incredibly boring to read out loud, plus you'd have to stop and write them down. Instead, I will post them in the posts section of macosken.com. And finally today, we have no idea the sensitivity of the sensors in the stuff we buy. iDownload blog ran a story last week about AirPods and other mic'd up wearables being used to measure a wearer's respiratory rate. They do that by listening to our breathing. Quoting the piece, the respiratory rate is the rate of your breathing. People suffering from conditions that require their respiratory rate to be measured and monitored would typically need to make an appointment with their doctor, then drive to a specialized respiratory center where they would get hooked up to advanced sensors to monitor and record their respiratory rates. Enter stuff you're already buying to look cool anyway. The piece continues. A new research paper published in the machine learning research section of Apple and Cornell University's website says wearable devices with built-in microphones can monitor breath audio to calculate a user's respiratory rate to assess their overall health and physical fitness. Remote estimation of respiratory rate could be a cost-effective method to track disease progression and cardiorespiratory fitness over time, the report reads. This doesn't sound like something Apple is rolling out tomorrow, though iDownload blog does remind readers about the feature in watchOS 8 that'll let a user track their respiratory rate while sleeping. No telling when or if this will be a feature used more widely than just bedtime. Still, the sensitivity of the sensors and the stuff we buy is pretty amazing. And kind of creepy. For this story, we'll go with amazing. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by SimpliSafe. Get 20% off your system plus your first month free when you sign up for interactive monitoring service at simplisafecom/macOSKen. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSken. Advertising handle by Backbeat Media. Online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. Info at macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.